Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast show on a Friday morning, and the world is in union. Why? Because yes, the 2019 Rugby World Cup will kick off in just a few hours, and tomorrow the most anticipated pool stage match between two-time champions, the Springboks, and reigning World Cup holders, the All Blacks, will take place. Now, if recent meetings between these two sides are anything to go by, then this match promises to bring some incredible rugby and lots of drama. You can expect that. And here to help us to preview what we can expect from this epic clash, please welcome Sports Editor Garrin Lambley. Give him a round of applause. He hasn't been here in a while. New studio and everything. There we go, sir. Good to have you here.
It's great to be here. Thanks very much for the invite.
I asked you earlier on a scale of 1 to, oh my goodness, where are your nerves right now for tomorrow?
Oh my goodness, times 10, I think. It's just going to be an amazing match. We waited 4 long years. It feels like way too long to watch another World Cup.
Yeah.
But I can't wait for it to get started, as you say, in a couple of hours.
Absolutely. And of course, this World Cup being held in Asia for the first time, which is incredible in its own right. But let's focus a little bit on the match. We all know, of course, that New Zealand have dominated World Cup or World Rugby over the past, 2 decades, do you want, give or take? They've been a massive force to be reckoned with. In fact, every single time that a team would perhaps maybe draw against them or even have a chance at beating them, there's been massive celebrations on the side of that team. Let's take a broad sweep of the game, and you tell me how you see us standing up and stacking up against the All Blacks.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a titanic battle. There's no question about that. In our last 4 matches against the All Blacks in all competitions, we've got actually a tremendous record against them. There's only 2 points that separate us in those last 4 matches.
Yeah.
We don't, unfortunately, have an amazing record against them at the World Cup level. It's 2-2. Obviously, the most famous Springbok victory over the All Blacks, the 1995 Rugby World Cup final. But in recent times, the All Blacks have certainly dominated us. Since readmission, our record is very, very poor against them.
Yeah.
And as you said, they're a little bit like Rugby World Cup specialists. They're looking for a hat-trick of titles and a 4th overall, having won the very first one at home in '87. So, the smart money would be on the All Blacks winning the tournament come 8 weeks from now. But, there's a lot of water that has still passed under the bridge. I think it's a very open World Cup. I don't think the All Blacks are at their best at the moment.
Yeah.
They've got a few aging players and a few selection criteria that they're looking to solve. They've made a number of changes for the match tomorrow, whereas the Springbok team is a little bit more settled. Rassie Erasmus named an unchanged team, which is always good for continuity purposes.
Yeah.
But, you always expect something from the All Blacks. Players like Beauden Barrett, Richie Mo'unga, they're dynamic players. On the day, they can swing a match with a moment of brilliance that, they really just have that X factor that unfortunately a lot of the Springboks don't have. They're pretty solid, the Springboks. I expect them up front to dominate.
Yeah.
But among the backs, you just worry that the All Blacks at times can certainly turn it on and sort of score tries from any position on the field.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we, in very recent memory in this year's Rugby Championship, did beat the All Blacks in a very, very competitive game, how much of an X factor does that put into our tank?
Yeah, look, I mean, it will take a tremendous confidence from our recent performances against the All Blacks. And I think a lot of rugby these days is about confidence and continuity.
Yeah, exactly.
So, the players have been there, done that. They don't fear the All Blacks as previous teams may have. Rassie Erasmus has certainly brought that sort of hard edge to the Springbok team. Siya Kolisi back as well. That's massive for the Springboks. He was struggling with an injury during the Rugby Championships. So, having him back, having Dwayne Vermeulen playing his 50th match, the players will certainly get up for that.
Oh, yes.
So, that's another thing to factor in as well. He's up against Kieran Reid, 2 of the older number 8s in the world, but certainly 2 of the very, very best.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a titanic battle up front in particular.
Looking at the back line, who do you see making a big impact over there? Of course, we know there's going to be a titanic clash in terms of the scrum game there, but in the back line, who do you see playing a role for us and for the All Blacks?
From our point of view, Andre Pollard really has to step up at this World Cup. Elton Jantjies isn't on the bench for this match, so there's no obvious backup at number 10 should Pollard go down injured early in the match. His kicking has been amazing. I think, Rugby World Cups is not about scoring bonus point tries. It's all about landing your penalties, landing your drop goals, as we've seen in the past.
Game management.
Absolutely. So there are no points or extra points for winning by more than 7, like in the Rugby Championships, for example. So you just want to grind out that victory. 1 point will be enough.
That's all you
so,
need.
So you've got Andre Pollard on the one side against, his direct opposition will be Richie Mo'unga.
Yeah.
They've obviously got some issues, the All Blacks, between 10 and 15, swapping Beauden Barrett, Richie Mo'unga around. around.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Sonny Bill Williams factor off the bench later on in the game when it's maybe...
What an impact player.
Absolutely. You know, when it's a little bit more loose and it's broken up a little bit and the players are tired and the rain's perhaps coming down in Yokohama.
Yeah.
The humidity's been a huge factor in training. Everyone's saying they're losing 5 kilograms just training.
My word. Yeah.
You know,
so that's going to have a significant impact on everyone, because
absolutely.
It's not like, you know, there are too many international rugby players that play their rugby in Japan at the moment.
No. I mean, you know, obviously not from South Africa and New Zealand in particular. There are a couple of sort of fringe players.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But nobody of any note that will be in this match particularly plays their rugby in Japan. So it's a factor that both teams will need to get used to. And obviously there's the referee. You know, South Africa don't have a great record against the referee. That we've played 13 tests against him. We've only won 4, and we've never beaten the All Blacks with him in charge in 5 tests. So that's a little bit of a concern.
Let's try and put that at the back of our minds. So let's leave the referee factor out of it and believe that the boys can pull it through just on pure gamesmanship and you know, the confidence that we have taken from beating them. And I would assume for players like Herschel Jantjies, having had an incredible debut against the All Blacks as well, that going into this World Cup, he would have drawn a lot of confidence and would want to make an impact should he get the opportunity to run onto the field.
Absolutely, and he can't wait for him to get on the field, and I'm sure he will. You know, Faf obviously, de Klerk obviously starting. You know, he's also had a great time in the Springbok jersey. He's player of the year in Europe, so he's got a lot of confidence as well. But Herschel Jantjies, as you say, the new kid on the block. Yeah. He's done nothing wrong. He's scored, I think, a try in every single match he's played today. We may well need that off the bench. You know, that sort of dynamic aspect to the game that we might be missing in the first 60 minutes before he gets on.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factor. You know, rugby is a 23-man game these days, not just the 15 that start.
Yeah.
So you're only as good as your bench a lot of times, and he certainly gives the Springboks a bit of an edge.
Yeah. With that said, I'm going to ask you the most difficult question by far, a score prediction, sir.
The final score, South Africa 23, All Blacks 17.
Oh, I love the sound of that. Mouth-watering rugby coming our way this weekend. Of course, the big clash. South Africa taking on New Zealand at 11:45 tomorrow. Our thanks to you, Garrin Lambley. Enjoy the weekend full of sport. There'll be lots to report on come Monday morning. And of course, we'll bring you all the results.